Kinsects are every glaive main's best friend, hands down. I honestly trust my Kinsect more than I trust my own teammates sometimes. But in previous games, the leveling system of Kinsects was so complex that it had multiple layers to it. In Sunbreak, it's much more simplified, which has its pros and cons in terms of flexibility and customization. But even so, in Sunbreak, the final Kinsect levels actually do some weird things. So the question is, when or is level 15 Kinsect worth it? Welcome in everybody, Sensei here with another Monster Hunter video. I wanted to break down some small details of Kinsects for you guys in case a few of you may have not noticed these slight changes in stats. With Sunbreak endgame, the most common Kinsect levels you will probably be running is either 13, 14, or 15. Kinsect levels are tied to the weapons. You cannot upgrade Kinsects on their own in any way, shape, or form. It's simply the weapon you pick determines the level of any Kinsect you pair with that weapon. So this begs the question if there are certain Kinsects that pair better with certain Kinsect levels, specifically between 13, 14, and 15. So to start off, we'll break down the changes first of all, and I'll do this by type and rarity of Kinsects. Starting off with assist Kinsects, these are the most common Kinsects that glaive users run, primarily because they are the least effort. They automatically do damage without you having to worry about anything else other than gathering your extracts. The rarity 2 and 4 Kinsects also had the option of dual color, which again gathered two colors at the same time, making it even more comfy. So taking a look at the power, speed, and healing stats, for the rarity 7 Kinsects in Sunbreak, the power and speed change between levels 13 and 14, but not 15. This means any damage you do either from tornado slashes or Kinsect slashes or the awakened wire bug skill or even just regular hits, they will be the same regardless if it's level 14 or 15. Now the healing stat does change, but it doesn't change between levels 13 and 14, but it does at 15. So if you particularly use the recall Kinsect wirebug skill, keep in mind your healing will be slightly better with assist Kinsects at level 15. If you are using the older rarity 4 Kinsects, primarily for those who still run the Carnage and Foe Beetle for the comfort of dual colors, you are losing damage because these Kinsects don't get the boosted power after level 13. Level 13 power stat is the cap for an assist Kinsect of this rarity. Heals change up to level 14 and caps there, and the speed is the only stat that changes between 14 to 15. Not gonna lie, it's kind of weird. I'm not entirely sure why Capcom decided to change the speed only at 15 of these rarity 4 Kinsects. They are much slower and they already needed a buff. So I don't really have an answer for that, but my assumption here is just that dual colors is pretty wild and you don't really need to send your Kinsect out too much, so speed isn't as important for these Kinsects. So yeah, if you do use the rarity 4 ones, just keep in mind that your Kinsect damage will be lower, but you still have the comfort of the Kinsect dual color bonus. Now this damage change also applies for elements. Sever Kinsects have the ability to adapt element damage of the blade that you are using. The damage gets added onto the normal Kinsect damage based on the motion value of the Kinsect. The damage output is determined by the base element stat of your blade. What I mean by this is that even if you boost your blade element damage by using element jewels or other skills, this will not affect the outcome of your element damage from your Kinsect. Kinsects take the base blade value and their final damage is set in stone before any skills activate. In terms of Kinsect level, again, going from 13 to 14 does indeed raise your damage, whether this is simply because the power level of the Kinsect changes, or the constant element multiplier for Sever Kinsect also changes, or both, I'm not sure, but either way it doesn't matter since at level 14, your damage is again capped and it stays the same going up to level 15. Now do keep in mind that status effects don't get affected. It takes the same number of Kinsect hits to KO a monster from a rarity 2 Kinsect to a rarity 7 of the same Kinsect type, i.e. powder, assist, and speed Kinsects. More specifically here for blunt, assist and powder Kinsects apply the same KO per hit. Speed Kinsects change this depending on their style and their Kinsect bonus. The new Sunbreak speed Kinsects and the older rarity 4 speed Kinsects with the Kinsect bonus of fast charge have a supercharged first hit that deals double KO damage. Any uncharged hits after that are the same as any other Kinsect. The Bull Shroud speed Kinsect with charged chain attack actually deals less KO damage per hit, but because it follows up with 4 more attacks after the initial contact, it can actually stack KO damage quicker on a monster if you get all of the hits off, which of course is a big risk and needs to be timed more carefully. But yeah, either way, rarity and Kinsect levels do not affect these. Moving on to powdered Kinsects, there's nothing really special about the powdered Kinsects. The results I found were similar to the assist Kinsects. At level 14, your power and heals are boosted, but again at level 15, only speed is boosted and it's a 1 point difference, which quite honestly is pretty negligible. Specifically for those of you wondering, yes, the Vortex Bomb is also affected by this in the same manner, meaning between level 14 and 15, the Vortex damage does not change. The Awakened Kinsect damage is also the same, so the cap on the damage is at level 14. Speed Kinsects, on the other hand, are the game changer here. Speed Kinsects have always been a more damage-focused Kinsect type, unlike Powder, which the main responsibility is status, and Assist, which is comfort. Speed Kinsects are the exception here. Between level 13 and 14, the new Sunbreak Kinsects do not have a change in power and speed. This includes their supercharged attacks, their secondary charge attack, and their normal attacks. Heals change by 1 point between 13 and 14, but again, if you aren't using Recall Kinsect Wirebug skill, this is not important to you. Between level 14 and 15 though, Kinsect power is significantly boosted. It is kind of strange that the Speed Kinsects are the only ones that get a power buff at level 15, and my thoughts here that Capcom is really trying to get us to branch out in terms of Kinsects. Because of this buff at level 15, an Element Blade with level 15 Kinsects is actually really worth combining with a Sever Speed Kinsect for the element damage alone. I have found that the Foliacath deals so much element damage on its charged hits, you literally don't even need to care about the other hits. As long as you land that first hit, you are gaining so much extra damage. Quite honestly, this has changed my opinion of these Speed Kinsects. I'm actually giving them a shot, especially when I'm focusing element damage. So yeah, this really does seem to be the primary use and value of level 15 Kinsects. Finally, something for Speed Kinsect users to rejoice about. It's something that I missed in my previous video and I'm glad that I investigated further. Now, if you're a user of the older Rarity 4 Speed Kinsects, you also do get the benefits of boosted damage, so going up all the way to level 15 is worth it. However, the damage output is not equivalent to Rarity 7. Level 15 of the Rarity 4 Kinsect will only output as much damage as a level 13 of the Rarity 7. Again though, Kinsect damage doesn't make or break your gameplay, so if you want to use one of the older Kinsects, there's no issue with that. They've got a lot of other good benefits that'll help you maximize your damage in the hunt. So yeah, those are the changes that you can see with the Kinsect levels, and in my opinion, I feel this does change up a little bit in terms of what Kinsects you might pair with certain weapons. Kinsect damage, of course, is not a small thing that it's so insignificant, but it's also not so big that it's game changing. So this probably won't change too much. If you are using an element weapon and want to pair a Kinsect with them, I would consider the element values. If your base blade element value is less than 25, it may not be entirely worth to use a Sever Kinsect, and you might be better off to use a blunt to get some KOs or paralysis stuns. If your blade has more than 25 element though, running the Foliacath is an excellent choice for pure element damage. Especially if the monster is one of those monsters that has like that one extremely weak body part, focusing the Foliacath on that body part would be great. If you're running the Recall Kinsect skill, remember that with the Assist and Powder Kinsects, you do get a little bit more heals with level 15, so it's something to consider. For Assist and Powder users, you really don't need to worry about using level 14 or 15. The difference for you comes between 13 and 14, and the damage change for both the Vortex Bomb and the Awakened Kinsect is significant enough relative to Kinsect damage, so at least level 14 is definitely worth when choosing your glaives. So yeah, that's about it everyone, just a small little breakdown that I wanted to share with you guys. I was just really curious of why we had so little blades with level 15 and if it really made a difference, and it was kind of cool to explore. So thank you guys for watching, I hope this helps, and I'll catch you guys next time. Until then, stay safe, be happy, and keep hunting. Sky Sensei is out.